Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Harry from Spurs TV back with another video, and today we're going to actually discuss the transfer window. The window has actually opened. This is day two of the window, and Spurs have actually already been linked with some players. But first, we're going to talk about what I think Spurs need, who I think should go and will go, more than likely go, and who I actually think Spurs will sign. Just a mix of everything. So let's first start with who I think is on their way out. Now, I think Spurs will try and shift Dyer, I think, this window. What I've heard, Levy might actually be able to let go of Dyer with like a nominal fee. Lisbon's been mooted, but maybe some other club will come in for him. But I think, as I'll go on to in a minute, there is a reason why I think Dyer will be shifted. I think Davies and Emerson will probably stay, judging by the lineups recently. And just Emerson's and Davies' versatility kind of counts for them, and against Dyer. So I think Dyer's definitely on his way out, more than likely. It might even come to the point where Spurs might cancel his contract. Now, another one is Højbjerg, who wanted to leave in the summer, but Spurs couldn't really agree a fee, and he didn't want to go to Fulham. But now he's changed agents, which is kind of actually taking Juventus off the table. And I think Højbjerg is most likely going to be on his way out. Now, this kind of links to the incoming. Conor Gallagher is the name being linked strongly into the midfield position at the moment. Spurs and Chelsea supposedly in talks going to Damasio. That came out the other day. And I do actually think this is a goer. Unlike a lot of other people, I do think Gallagher to Spurs could happen. Because Chelsea are obviously going to have to comply with FFP, and I think that is one of the reasons why they might actually have to sell Gallagher. Gallagher is someone who is also homegrown, which counts as a plus for Spurs. Spurs have always had this issue with homegrown players, and it might mean that in the summer Skip might be, might be appropriate to shift Skip and bring someone who's non-homegrown into the squad. Like pre-planning, I guess, because if you're shifting Højbjerg who's non-homegrown, bringing Gallagher, then maybe some can be done in the summer about Skip now. So, yeah, Gallagher, I think, is actually more of a go than other people may say. I think 40-50 million is the price being mooted, which I would consider that's not out of Spurs' price range as well. Also, I do think he can actually come into Spurs and actually do a job. I'm one of the... What's the word? I know he's been one of Chelsea's best players, and I know Chelsea haven't been playing well this season that much, so it's probably not a massive thing to say, but I'm one of those people who does actually think Gallagher can bring some energy into the midfield. Højbjerg, the one negative of him, and to be fair to me, he's actually done all right this season, but is that he doesn't have the passing ability as someone like Gallagher does. Even though Gallagher is, like I said, not exactly like the best player in the world, but I think Gallagher can bring some energy. I think Mange could maybe mould him. And the price I said 40-50 million isn't actually that bad in this market. I know everyone says anything above 30 for like an English player is quite a lot, but I actually think Gallagher could do something. He can play as the number 8 and he can play as the number 10 as well. I think he might actually be a good pairing with someone like Lo Celso. I don't know why, but I think with Lo Celso's sort of recycling of the ball and Gallagher's runs, it might actually work quite well, with someone like Benzema sitting behind. His versatility is a massive plus. I think Gallagher can even play wide. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I do actually think it would be a good buy. Now, the centre halves being moved are Todibo from Nice, who right now is not really a go because apparently Spurs are reluctant to pay the price. No surprise there. And Dragusin is the most likely now from Genoa. He's some Romanian centre half. I think he's only about 21 years old. Probably the future Romanian centre half, actually. And he's, from what I've read, I guess highlights is not much to go off. His tackling is his strongest attribute. I do think he might come in and actually do something. These sorts of signings like Vicario, who people like me kind of shuddered at, will kind of prove massively wrong. But Dragusin, on the face of it, in January to get a player for that price, 26 million, is actually not bad business. I think he's probably an appropriate signing for this window, because if it means we can shift Dyer, then anything's better than that, I guess. But also, I do think he could actually be a good player for us. Now, if we look attacking wise, no one's been linked with a move out. Son's going to Asia Cup, and we are using some midfielders which might push some of the attackers further back. I don't know. But I do think Spurs need to be making a move for like a winger. Jota's obviously the most obvious one, who's in Saudi Arabia, and obviously Ange did mention before. A lot of people describe him as sort of a cross between Madison and Son, which is quite interesting if you see it that way. So I do think Spurs need a winger. I think even more than a striker, and the reason I say this is because Richarlison's starting to hit form now. I mean, it's 5 goals in 5 games, as I said in the previous video. And also I think we have Johnson there that can play in the middle, even because it's at the stretch. And Son will be back after a month. But also, I do think Spurs can get a better striker in the summer. Despite, the clamouring for Ivan Toney, it's questionable whether he'll fit the system. And also, just there's a lack of good strikers at the moment out there. You might as well just stick with what you have. I know it's quite weird coming from my mouth, but also with Champions League football or European football next season, I think we can attract a better striker. So I'd rather give it to the summer. I'd rather buy a centre half and a central midfielder, but I do think Spurs need to make a move for a winger as well, like with Jota. And if this loan move is actually mooted and it's going to happen, then good. But I do think Spurs need to actually buy another left back. And whilst this guy's not a left back, I do think he'll be a good buy overall. Someone like Nkape, it's not a bad shout, but I think a left back is more prevalent than a right back, because Emerson can at least play okay at right back. When he plays at left, he's nowhere near as good. And when he plays in the middle, again, we saw how shocking he is as a centre half. Now, the one centre half I want to throw big money at is Branthwaite at Everton. And I'm going to say this probably every single stream from now on until the January window ends. But the longer we leave this deal, because Spurs actually rumoured to be looking at him as a long-term target, Bayern are already looking at Branthwaite, by the way. So the longer we leave it, the higher his price will get, actually. So unsurprisingly to Levy, he probably thinks the opposite. So I think Spurs, at least if not January, in the summer, need to make a move for Branthwaite, like a big move. Put 75 million on the table for Everton, because if we leave it a year, a guy could turn into like £100+ million player. That's how valuable he is to Everton, and he's homegrown as well. I haven't seen a defender like him in a very long time, actually. I think he's got enough pace to play in this system. He reads the game really well. He's very strong. He just muscles players off the ball. His tackling is brilliant. He's already playing in this league. So Branthwaite for me is like a no-brainer. I think he's someone who could pair probably anyone. So he's one for long term. But for January, for me, it's just, we need a winger. I'd argue another left back. I would say recall Reguilon, but I think he's on his way out. And a centre half, 100%. And it looks like a midfielder because Højbjerg's on his way out. And I think Gallagher's actually quite a good choice. I know Calvin Phillips has been mooted before, but I think Gallagher's just more of a dead set in terms of sort of someone who can come in and do a job straight away. Despite, how much I like Calvin Phillips, I actually do think he might take a bit of time to adjust, as in, like, not in the system, but in the sense he hasn't played for so long. I think Gallagher will come in and he'll already be in the rhythm of playing. And he's, like I said, he's been Chelsea's best player. A lot of people tell me so. And I've seen enough of him to say, I think he can come in and do something. And with European football next season, more than likely, I think we're going to need as many numbers as we can get. Like I said, signs Gallagher now kind of allows us to let Skip go in the summer to buy someone foreign. So you can think of it that way too. So to me, that I'll be happy with 4 players this window. I think 3 probably might be enough to get us in the Champions League, but that's a big maybe as well. But anyway, transfer window is open. Here's day 1 or day 2, however you want to take it, and come on, you Spurs.